Celebrating the 4th of July, Truefire are running a Stars, Stripes and Strings sale, providing 60% off of their all-access pass. If you're interested in that you can dip in and out of every single thing on Truefire. Really great value for money. Also, they got 50% off of some individual courses, so check out the link in the description if you're interested in that. I think for me, certainly, I've sort of tied myself to an identity which maybe is not all that correct. This is really serious stuff today, guys. But so, for instance, I've long said that I really prefer single coils. I've never really liked humbuckers, to be honest with you, since I found what single coils sound like. And then this summer, essentially, I kind of started gigging this Les Paul. So this is a K-Line KL59. And basically every gig, pretty much except one, I'd be playing the Les Paul for at least half of it. And this has felt the most comfortable of any of my guitars. And I'm just thinking, like, if I just gigged the wrong guitar for the last decade, essentially, or just avoided gigging what actually works for me really well in this context. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit of exploration of that. The style of music that we play in, the bands that I play in, is going to be fairly ranging, and definitely, like, you do this sort of gig on loads of different types of guitars, and I guess this is why I've not really experimented with this too much. But like a Les Paul was the one that I hadn't tried really much at all. Strat, Telly, you know, would be my comfort zone. I tried it on ES335 last year. But Les Paul just has not really been my sort of thing. The story essentially goes like I grew up listening to Gary Moore and Thin Lizzy and learned to play from those records. And I had it in mind that one day I would have a Les Paul, and then I went to Mansons, my local guitar shop, and played a Les Paul standard there and was like, what's this about? I was an RG player at the time, like an Ibanez shreddy boy. And then also played a PRS Custom 24, I think, which actually suited me way better. I was kind of thinking, well, this feels better to play. And now, obviously, I couldn't afford a PRS at the time. But from that point on, basically, I had sort of the blinders on that a Les Paul wouldn't really work that well for me until I played at Hugh Fearnley-Whittenstall's River Cottage. And I took a Gibson Les Paul standard that I'd bought to that gig and was like, I enjoyed that. Kind of forgot about that. And then this summer, essentially just thought, well, let's try it. And it has really been the most comfortable thing to play, and that's absolutely unexpected. I did have to kind of double check this.
That I had to borrow, beg and steal and lie and cheat, trying to keep you, trying to please you. Being alone with your West ain't cheap. Now I pity the
What I would say is that it's not necessarily the easiest guitar to switch to mid-set. And also not the most comfortable guitar at all for me to play at home. It works for me so well. This is strung with the original 10s that came on this. I've had this guitar nearly now I don't know, like 10 months, something like that. But I'm so glad that I gave it a go trying to get it. Like, it really does feel to me the most comfortable. Like, it's not a cheat code at all. Like, I still make mistakes on it and stuff like that, but when I'm actually soloing with it, particularly live, I find it to the point where I think like, I did take this guitar to a gig last week, I think it was last week, and I played that for the full 2 hours, and I really did just feel less comfortable than I do on the Les Paul, which is absolutely the opposite at home, and maybe just hammers home the point that playing live is quite a different thing to playing at home. And the things where, like, the sensitive sort of subtleties of some of what a Strat can do, maybe in the context of like the live stuff that I'm doing, you know, Mr. Brightside, Summer of '69, you know, Don't Stop Believing, some of these things, but also even on the cleaner stuff where I actually really appreciate the kind of thicker voice of the Les Paul, which doesn't seem to kind of get weedy. Whereas the Strat, sometimes when you're playing it, you're like, this is a little bit on the plinky side, especially if you're using in-ears. The Les Paul kind of is a bit of a bolder sound, in my point of view. And I think the shorter scale length, something about it seems to work really nicely for me too. So it's kind of one of those things where I think, like, actually, the guitar that I reach for to stick in the gig bag, for the rest of this summer at least, I think is going to be the Les Paul. That's just how I feel about it right now, and it's taken me very much by surprise. I've done a few videos kind of talking about this because it is, for me, quite a big shift, if you know what I mean. Anyway, we've got 22 frets, which is useful as well for some of this stuff, versus the Strat, which is 21. The fixed bridge, I think, is a little bit of a benefit as well when it comes to live playing for bends and stuff like that. And I think that was one thing that I was noticing about playing a telly live as well, that kind of worked for me quite a lot better than a Strat. The things that I'd have been worried about with the Les Paul don't really have to worry with this guitar, because Chris at K-Line actually cares about having these things be sort of around £8, certainly not like heavy. So it ends up being like half a pound heavier than my Strat, so that's absolutely fine. One of the things that I kind of saw Joe Bonamassa talking about was like the amount of hours put in on each type of instrument, and if I'm already feeling this level of comfort at a gig when I'm playing a Les Paul, in context that I didn't expect to find this, you know, like play that funky music, how would that sound on a Les Paul? Signed, Sealed, Delivered, how would that sound on a Les Paul? Uptown Funk, all these things that I wouldn't really have conceived that actually just work really well. The things that I'm still getting slightly caught out on are the volume things, but actually I'm starting to get there. Like, it might just be that sometimes at the very start of a set I'm wondering, why is my guitar not working, and I'm on this pickup position and it's all the way down, but that's not happened a ton. So I'm really happy with it. It sounds great into a deluxe reverb, sounds great into an FM9. The other thing that I've recognized is that these pickups are way hotter. I use low output single coils on my Strats, and so this is giving me, I guess, a little bit more compression, a little bit more gain typically than I would be getting out of my Strat as well. And I think that's partly why I'm also feeling like a little bit less resistance. It's just working out nicely, and I'm not the first kind of, I don't think of myself as a Les Paul player at all, but I think looking back, actually, I waited until I was 36 to figure out that actually when I'm playing live, I feel very comfortable playing a Les Paul somehow. So it's a little bit of a change of pace for me. Let me know in the comments if you've done this kind of switcheroo. Is this a thing that happens to people? Maybe this is a midlife crisis, I don't know. I'll catch you in another video soon, but I just wanted to try this on another gig. I've got basically a set of like all in-ear gigs coming up now, so I wanted to try an amp, you know, for a bit, and try a Les Paul into that amp, just to confirm that this was definitely not just like a thing that I was having in my head. It just does feel great when I take this to a gig and play it, so there's that. The humbuckers that I don't normally like at home actually work perfectly well and very reasonably in a live context. I guess that's what they were invented for. Catch you in another video soon. Hope you're having a good Sunday. See you tomorrow for a lick lesson.